West Nile TV. West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingamwa. West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingamwa.
Welcome for this edition of the Sports and the Whistle Time right here. Couple of stories to be discussed. My name is Owen and I have Oscar the Brazilian in the studios. Oscar, it has been a very while. Probably we talk about the weekend. A lot of things happened. The Premier League, the CAF the CAF Championship, and of course the Champions League. I mean, all came through in there. You did see a lot happening, but of course Uganda still keeps right there. Should we say disappointing or they're not doing good? But of course, most welcome and good afternoon.
Well, thank you so much. I think over the weekend, some of you guys missed the birthday of my big brother.
You is a Congolese
from DR Congo. He's
okay.
called Saji Baka. He's a very good. He's actually a professional basketballer. If you ever watched a song of Fally Ipupa, he was actually in that song. Saji Baka was actually also he had a clip in that song. But that means
he's a big man.
No, for us we are big in Congo. Because I don't know how you guys do your things in Uganda, but of course. We had a great moment. We shared a lot. Maybe I'll present cake after
after cake, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But of course, that is one of the biggest. Probably, I say happy belated birthday, and that is one of the biggest in there from the team Whistle Time. But of course, we are going to be starting with the big stories as I talk right now. You look at Uganda; they have dropped in position. That's the highlight I can give you on Saturday. You did see how exactly things happened, and everyone looked at how Uganda has dropped. Why could have they dropped is another question someone will be asking in there, and of course that means every department of sports needs to high up to make sure that things help really they hype all the games in there. But let's go away from there. Let's look at the big stories are coming in from the West Nile region now. We will be taking a show shortly in a few days time to see that we cover basketball. That's one of the biggest things we are looking forward to see. Basketball is one of the active, one of the biggest. He has just been talking about his brother from another mother. Now this time around, what about us who are here? We'll be talking about that. But let's look at this big one. If you look at West Nile, we have kept saying there's talent, and if you look at Uganda at large, there's also talent, and we want to start with that aspect of talent in Uganda. How can, of course, our talent in West Nile or Uganda be identified? Because every aspect, every game, at least in Uganda, it is practiced, but it is not seen. So talent in different sports activity or sports-related activities has been very hard to be identified. What could have caused this?
Well, it's a very interesting subject, but what I know is we've had talents everywhere in West Nile. West Nile is a talent hub. If you want to bring basketball, you want to bring baseball, you want to bring softball, football, West Nile has been a hub. But one of the greatest challenges we've faced here in West Nile for the talents to be unearthed is we don't have frequency in top level competitions, and that's why it becomes very hard. It only calls for a team to come from the center to come and play a game. Let me give you an example of how Oromchan Villa was scouted. He was a very good player, but no one knew him. He was such a complete player, very quick, a fox in the box, can play for you on the left, on the right hand side of the flank. Nobody actually knew so much who Oromchan Villa was. Onama Bosco picked him from Paida SS, took him to St. Joseph's College Ombachi, played a game or two. From there, that's when I remember the emergence of Arua Hill at one point also came. But before that, in fact, after that, they tried a game. Arua Hill, remember in that season, they were picked from school, and then they could go and play the games, then come back. They didn't have so much, but I think his breakthrough came when URA came to play a game. Actually came for the West Nile tour. You remember in that season when Paida Black Angels were in the big league, then the following season, in fact, Onduparaka joined them in that very season. So URA came for a tour. They started by playing a game with Paida Black Angels at Barako. After that, they came and played a game with Onduparaka. So in that very game, Romchan Villa scored that goal. That was the day they actually signed him. They immediately said, we are going back with this player. So I mean, if we could have the frequency of teams coming to even play, they coming for their pre-season. I remember it was during a pre-season tour. So we actually don't have top level competitions that could attract big name clubs. Now you see a team like Paida is playing, right now they're playing friendlies with teams from Mahagi, teams. To me, I don't see that much more working, because at the end of the day, who are the teams you're going to be playing in this competition with? I thought the best thing, if the club was organized, you come and play games. Let's say you're going to Maracha, you're going to play a game in Maracha, you're going to play a game with Odramachako, you're going to play a game with maybe in Ajumani. That is where you're going to spot talents. Maybe you have a Jumani Select, Moyo Select. That is where you will actually spot talents. Why I don't so much buy that one of Paida Black Angels. Someone would say, why do I so much critique? It is very simple. You know, the guys from Mahagi, these are guys from another country. So for you to get a player from another country to come and play, the processes are too long. And again, this player would want to come at a fee. You all know that right now Paida Black Angels is almost starting from zero. So it would be prudent to start with players from within here. You know, they may not ask for much, but simply you can actually just get them into the system and model them. So to that, I think one of the things we lack so much in West Nile is we don't have top level competitions, and our clubs don't so much look at exposing the talents way beyond. We only want to wait for teams to come and play here, and of course, several clubs have actually gotten very good players from West Nile because they take the initiative. Most of these clubs in Central have scouts. Be it those who are registered or not, but at least they have people who can connect for them. They even have contacts with the clubs within here. So it is happening, but not so much at a level that we expect it to happen. We have the talent, but I think we are still lagging behind if it gets to how we can spot this talent.
Now, good players, good players, and they make very good decisions. Don't you think that maturity is not yet in most of the players? And then the character is also one thing we've seen. Because if you look at players, just like us, you look at some players here, they go to a club one season, they sign, and then they start misbehaving after finishing up the game. I know there are very many challenges in clubs, but let's talk about Adam Sabir. Right now, he's even in a doubt, he's in dilemma whether he will be going to Calvary back or no. If I thought of a club, then after club getting back, don't you think this is one thing that is killing our players here, the talent? Because that is now in football, but also in other aspects, that maybe in other games, this could be the same thing happening.
Well, the issue of Andaba is not an isolated case for me. The issue here is, it comes down to the organization of clubs. Once a club is organized, when a player is coming into your system, that is the system you strictly follow. Look at what happened with the issue of Junior. How do you accept to be unveiled by another club? You still have running contract the other side, and I mean this...
Is that not unprofessionalism?
Very unprofessional. Very unprofessional, both on the side of Arua Hill Soccer Club, the side of the player himself, and the player, I think, being, I don't know whether he's still a minor, or somebody just did not guide him well. That's why having agents are very important. An agent will have to educate a player what is supposed to be done, when and where a player is supposed to communicate, who is supposed to communicate to this player, and what is this player supposed to say, and who wants this player for what. So I think we lack this, and that's why the unprofessionalism keeps continuing. And again, this other thing also spills to FUFA. FUFA does not put out strict rules to punish clubs. I expected Arua Hill to have been punished. Honestly speaking, Arua Hill to have been punished. I expected KCCA to have been punished in the manner in which Muhammad Shaban left Onduparaka and went to KCCA. I expected something to have been done. But you find there are a lot of things that happens at FUFA, and you start questioning, even if I took this case there, will I really win? So it's kind of a double standard that to me is dragging our football downwards. And again, the other thing is, we don't have clubs that can prepare players for their long career, for their journey, that they can actually take their professional, they can actually take these players professionally, leave alone here and take them outside. Just look at this player. Onduparaka was not Onduparaka. Royal Hill was battling over with the Olisoka.
Okawa Rashid.
If that player was with Mujib Kasule, where do you think he will be? With all his talent, where do you think he will be? If a player like Muhammad Shaban was with Proline under Mujib Kasule, where do you think he will be? And then look at other talents we have here. I keep referring to people like Joey. Now he has left Onduparaka, he has gone to Blacks Power. Where do you think such players with their talents would be? So I think we don't have, okay, we have clubs here, but I don't think these clubs position themselves to better players' career professionally and see that they can prepare these players for challenges outside. Most of our players also don't succeed outside because they lack professionalism. There is no guidance. The player even, what is revolving around them is 2 years, after which another sign-on fee, 2 years, after which another sign-on.
Let's talk about this thing. You've talked about two things here, which have caught of course, into my brain. And one is when you talked about players, I mean the coaches or club owners being involved in the transfers. You've brought in like Mujib Kasule, who has said even you get surprised, like Aniku Martin getting off, and here people were like, he's not, and he gets there. Then too, should we say now?
I've been seeing him in Onduparaka.
I don't also say him maybe he's coming there, but we have seen that happen. Now let's look at this in a manner that, are you trying to attribute failure of these players or the scouting bit to the top league to one, sometimes the management, or I mean the owners of the club not being educated about how player is supposed to maybe being sent out, or is it because they don't have the link, or the club is not having links with the outside clubs in there? Two, should we say it is because the coaches are not modeling these players to the expectation?
Well, I think these factors are counting. I keep saying Onduparaka has never sold a player.
Yes.
That you really think, I think even Joel...
They've never
sold a player. The last time I checked, Shaban just terminated his contract.
Right now, Norman Saddam is also going free.
So they have never sold a player. So that means, what was Onduparaka's strategic plan in terms of player recruitment and then getting something out of this player? To me, I think if you are to sign a player, you should be able to sign a player you know has potential. And once a player has potential, you are going to model this player, and you increase his market value. Once you increase a player's market value, you're going to earn something out of him. I think Molindo has successfully done that. Gets a player, Farouk Mia. Before you know it, Farouk Mia's money has built St. Mary's Stadium. Gets a player like Samson Cesar Okuti from Mediofa Hills, even when they're battling with URA, gets this player, sells him to Vietnam. Gets a player like Fahad Bayo, models him very well, sells him to Israel with Ashdod. That is how professionally clubs are supposed to be having their journey with players.
Do you think it's because he has links with the outside world?
That's what I'm coming to. How do you sell, and whom are you going to sell to? So I expect, as a club is forming up, you're supposed to have linkages. In terms of, that is part of your marketing strategy, linkages outside. I remember at one point Mujib Kasule's Proline had signed a contract with a second division team in Spain. Some of the players from Uganda were playing in that division. So that means their strategic plan was very, very good. That we don't just get players in to play, we get players whom we know have potential, and out of these players, we can sell these players because the market is outside there. How do you position yourself? Then when you position yourself, what I liked their strategy was Proline also had, they started as an academy. So you know that as an academy, there's that continuity. We bring in young talents, we model them, we make them the stars, then we sell them outside. So I think also when you need to have that type of strategy, the other thing you need to put in, do we have the good facilities to actually better these players? So these are kind of things that really work in. So when you look at West Nile, tell me, do we have these type of clubs and do they have the linkages? We're yet to see if Arua Hill is going to make a difference.
Now let's look at that. Now the question will come finally to how can Uganda's scouting system really be upgraded to make sure that these players are got outside the world?
Well, it all comes down to professionalism. 2, it comes down to networking, and then the other one, it comes down to yes, there's, I think basically the two really work for me. Professionalism will come in this, that you need to know that you are preparing this player to earn from his talent, and as well as a player is going to be earning from his talent, the clubs as well are going to earn from this player because they are facilitating him. On the other side, the networking bit is very important for me. Whom can you take this player to? Do you have all those networks outside? And how many are they? Is there any player who can be sold right now that has come through your ranks? Then again, the marketing bit. It comes to how many clubs here profile their players? How many?
A few.
I just even, you might find a very good player, but there is nothing to show for this
exactly
player. Because a club from outside, let's say you want to sell this player to Ashdod in Israel, they want to look at the clips of this player. That's why it's very important that a media department of a club is supposed to be well equipped. You have the cameras. In fact, you cover all your training sessions. The games are covered. Not for fault finding, but again, if you're focusing on a player, if you're saying this player is skillful, we need to see the clips of how this player is dribbling. If you say this player can score goals, you need to see how many goals you can combine them and see. Like right now, if I want to look for how many goals has Fernando Torres did he score for Chelsea, I'll just go to probably any site, and then I get to Fernando Torres. I'll just watch the clips, and it can give me a picture. Is this player good for me? Is this player not good for me? Can this player be modeled? I mean, even articles about players. Let's talk of Wanda Majuni. How many articles have been written? Good articles that can sell him out. But the only article you see him for Arua Hill and the Calvary fighting over this.
Let's take a break, and that's an interesting one coming in right there. We're taking a break. We'll be coming back to see that we give you more of the sports stories that are still coming in there. And of course, we're on channel 477 on Star Times, and we are streaming live on YouTube channel. Just go like and of course notify and click on that bell. You will be very, very ready to see that you catch up with us on that. And of course, you can also drop in your message on that is the casa below to make sure that you are part of us, and we'll be checking on your messages right there. My name is Owen, and let's take a break. We'll be right back.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that break, and of course we left when it was interestingly about Andama Samir and Andama Junior, and of course all that have come in there. But of course it is sorted out. Let's now get to this in there, where of course you're seeing now. It has come to notice. You saw it with Manchester United, Paul Pogba and Jose Felix Mourinho. Some people attributed the firing of Jose Felix Mourinho to Paul Pogba. But of course in Uganda, we have seen very many things. At KCC, that Mike Hilary Mutebi is left because there are also some bickeries between him and the players. Some of the players that he was not liking in there, and the board was not very well with it. But a couple of things have come in the different clubs about this. We did see issues coming in from different angles at Tunduporaka, that some of the players were also having issues with the coach, and that is the reason why some coach left. I don't want to mention names, but let's come to this. Do players contribute to sacking of coaches?
Unprofessionally, they do. To say, they really do. You remember the season by the Black Angels came to play. I keep referring to them because there are so many talking points.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
the headline. Remember when they came, tentatively they were playing at Greenlight.
Yes.
You remember at one point you would not be seeing Abang Cromwell, the team captain. And later on you saw the head coach parting ways, because that player was a darling of a club, and you want to put this player on the subs bench. The player wants to play on the wings. You want him to play as a striker. The player wants to have his time on the ball, play with the ball. You want him to
First
play.
time give the ball. Let's go.
You want. So I unfortunately that coach went to, I think not Charles Senior. He went to Toro. He also was assistant at Bright Stars. You know, by the Black Angels, I don't know where they used to get their coaches. But honestly, I think players do. And even if it's unprofessional, but you see, when you have stars in your team, one, it's because of them fans are going to come into the pitch, and then it's because of them that you're going to sell many jerseys. It's because of them that you're going to have so much media attention. So when you don't treat them well, you may as well actually be preparing for your exit. That happens not only at Tunduporaka, but it really happens.
But how and why should it happen like that? I think as when you're coming, you're in charge of all this. Although the player, let's say you played with the player and now you've become a coach, you're better than the player right now. You are the head. Don't you think? You talked about unprofessionalism. Yes, that is one thing for me. I see as a key factor. But as players and the coaches, well, who should be blamed? Because is it the coach who is supposed to blame and listen to the players, or it's the player listen to the instruction of the coaches?
Well, the biggest person in the game of football, when it gets to like a club, biggest person, leave alone the hierarchy. But when it gets to players,
coach,
the person they should respect the most is the coach, is the head coach. So it's upon the head coach to see how do you manage the players, the man-to-man relationship. What is your relationship with somebody? You know, players will always have ego because they may not see, or they may not actually have the direct experience the way you have actually had yours. So when you tell somebody, do this because I want you to actually do ABC. So it comes out to a coach. A coach will always have to be strict in the terms of discipline. There is no way a coach should tolerate a player who is indisciplined to be in your team. Because an indisciplined player is a dressing room problem. So what are you going to do? Am I supposed to disorganize the whole of my team because of just one player? I don't think so. So as you're coming in, I think those are some of the things that makes you a genius. If you can do without this player, then have a plan B. You should always have a plan B. Every player, every coach is replaceable. A club will always remain, but the players and coaches are always on the journey. They will come and they will go. So as a coach, I think a coach should be respected. Players should respect their coaches. But again, as players, you know, there's one funny bit with respect. Respect is not commanded. Respect is earned. The way you communicate to your player, the way you relate with him, the way you listen to that player. You need to be like, when you're with a player, you're like his parent. You are guiding him. So however much you're strict, you should be able to know where and how to communicate to this player. I think that is very, very key for me. But on the other side, as you're going to recruit, a coach should also try to be professional. You should try to use your leadership ability. You have to show that that character of a leader. But again, for the club management to recruit, which coach are you going to recruit? Because this will count a lot for you. When you're going to just recruit any other person to come in, it's going to be a problem. You see the problem that Manchester United faced when David Moyes was appointed. To me, he was not the right pick. Why? How do you bring David Moyes? He has never won any title in his life. But he's going to manage Ryan Giggs, who had won more than 6 Premier League titles, FA Cups, UEFA Champions League. So who is going to listen to him? Like right now, you can't tell me you're going to bring Thierry Henry to be assistant to Mikel Arteta. Completely, players will not respect Arteta. What has he won in terms of pedigree? So it will become a problem. So you start dividing the camp. There are some players who feel I can only listen to Thierry Henry because maybe I admire him, he has been a legend in this club, he has done a lot, those things happen. So right now, like if you have to bring Zinedine Zidane to Arsenal, which player will not respect him? He has won everything. So if you want to succeed, you listen to somebody who has been there. So those kind of things, they work out a lot. Whom are you bringing? And then which type of player are you recruiting? Those also matter.
Don't you think one of the biggest thing is the management? Okay, let's say the top hierarchy and of course club owners who have also involved themselves in these issues. It may not be worthy, but they may take a player as a small god in that team, and they feel without this player, maybe the club cannot continue. When of course even the coach is there, although the coach is winning the games. Well,
those things always happen. They always happen. That now comes to interference. When you start interfering into, okay, when some players don't want some coaches, of course there are some people who can come from the other side and start influencing the players. I mean, you see players failing to perform on the pitch of the other side, they're just looking for ways of getting rid of the coach. Players start underperforming, and on the other side you see 2-3 games of winless streak. I don't believe that even me up to now, that Mauricio Pochettino should have left Tottenham Hotspurs.
Why could he have left in your own view?
I don't think so, because I believe the players were the ones who contributed to his sacking. Just look at these players, the players. When Spurs was under Mauricio Pochettino before he was sacked, look at that squad and compare with Arsenal. Was there any quality at Arsenal that you could compare to Spurs? If you took away Lacazette, if you took away Aubameyang, if you took away Ozil, who are other players? You can hardly mention, but Spurs was complete from the goalkeeping department up to the centre forward, even with the technical bench. They were far much better. Look at the Leicester team that were doing well. Was Leicester any better than, in terms of quality, better than Spurs? So players contribute a lot, and that is unprofessional for me.
Now, of course, that is unprofessional to him, and I accept that because a lot of things are happening. Very many are asking questions, why? And maybe next time you'll see this happen. Now, it is Shaban in the team of Ondupalaka, maybe very soon will be unveiled against a coach who, of course, very many would say maybe they have not known much about, but of course, that will be one of the biggest things. Fans have different IQs, the coaches will be having different, and of course, as a player, the player will be having different one. Now let's cross over and see what exactly it has been in, that is the ways in there. Very many players have failed, very many players have been influenced, and this time round others have failed because of not A and B, but it's because of hooliganism. How has hooliganism affected the Ugandan football, Ugandan sports, athletics, and you look at all these aspects, it has been affected. Others have entered into different sorts of things, drugs and other things in there. how has it affected Ugandan football? I mean, let me say Ugandan sports.
Well, I think I should narrow it down to indiscipline. Especially when it gets to players, I think theirs is much more of indiscipline. I don't know how it was in your generation, but in my generation, even when we were in DR Congo, even when we were in South Sudan before I found myself
in Uganda.
Now I'm adapting to the way you guys do your things, but my experience was way terrible. You lose a game, you think it's the coach responsible. Players all turn to the coach, rowdy, and start beating the coach. We don't want you, we don't want the ABC. It happened.
You become uncivilized.
Out the primary school days, secondary school days, I witnessed that a lot. So indiscipline from players has actually been one of the reasons why most of them, I think, right now if I look at the players of this generation, I don't see so much talented players like we used to have those days. If only football was so lucrative and so promising like the way it is now, I believe several other players from my generation would have really been so far. But you see, everything happens, it's a gradual process. I've never seen any player more talented in the whole of my career ever since I was born, ever since I started following football from this region. There was a player called Ochaya Damson Osugo. Some of you have never had the opportunity of watching him. A very complete player, a good dribbler. When you watch Fernando Torres play, that is the type of a player. Good in the air, good at dribbling, physically gifted, tactically. His positioning, whether he gets for you on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, he will always score the goals for you. He played for St. Aloysius College Nyapea. But then I was like, do you know, back then, you would write his name on your shirt. Yeah. His name. Because when you go to watch the game, even the training, all the defenders don't want to come close to him. It took me time to again start seeing those type of players. Later on, we transited. There was another player, another brother of mine from Congo. He was he used to put on. He was the person who popularized shirt number 14 for me. Very talented. He was called. We used to call him Bokeh. He was a very, very good player. He played out his best. And later on, of course, he went back to Congo. His coming to school was basically football. He just wanted to play football. After their school, was not his thing. And then later on, I saw Patrick Oluor was the one who used to bench Samson Cesar Okuti. But when I see how Samson Cesar Okuti reached with his talent, I think sometimes people are destined differently. Then I saw another player that was a wasted talent for me, was a Lobara boy called Akua Raphael. He played for Arua Central. He played for Angaleses, played for the Primary, played for St. Joseph's College of Bashi, played for Nile High. A very talented player. I don't know where Akua Raphael is. One of the most talented. Another talented player I watched in my generation was Odipio Herbert. He retired with Bull. Remember? Yeah. With James C. Hippos. I remember when they came here. Their trademark was delaying tactics when they were playing against Paraka. He was one of those very talented. I have again never seen a winger like that. Another one is Kodian. His brother once was in the US. That talent there. So all these players, most of them did not succeed because of discipline. They were not disciplined enough. For Akua Raphael, I think, the players of your generation, when they get to that team age, there's a lot, but I expect him to be far. Now, coming to the hooliganism bit, that so much involves with the fans. You find there is a mentality that we must win. It is either we win or we win. So that mentality is the one that affects a lot. The easiest example I can give you, Express came here at Barifa to play a game with the Diofe Hills. I don't know whether so let me tell you the things that happened in
our Uganda.
In your Uganda. Express came to play a game. But before the Express game, there was a game. Diofe Hills went to play with Boroboro FC from Lira. These fans from Arua went in large numbers to Lira. The experience was not good. that issue of even if you are beaten but you lose the game, but still fans stand on you, they want to beat you. So Ideal Fields fans did not have a good experience when they went to play in Lira. That team Lira, their fans were a little bit not well behaved. So the Roy Hill, the Ideal Fields fans, they came out. I mean, some of them were injured. The experience was just not good. And our people here, they like keeping things in their hearts. They are waiting for the return leg. That was way back in so they are waiting for the return leg. Even if police were deployed, but the manner in which the game ended, you would not actually like. There was a lot of vandalism. The likes of the Anecho Sams were running for their dear lives. Even if you have that type of stomach, you would still run. I mean, tear gas, you would even start feeling tear gas from where we are, where our offices are, up to when you're going towards the forest. It was not a good experience for me. So hooliganism actually affected a lot. The worst again came now when the likes of the late Abe Dairas, when he was in with Extra, when they came to play here at Barifa. Again, those are the things that will happen. At Wankulukuku, there was always that trouble you will get. And the Joffrey Hill fans will not forget that. They will wait for you to come to Arua. Barifa, with the CPS, before you run into CPS, Barifa is far. And at least there will always be that element of we want to pay back. It was always there.
And you had a lot of sticks to use.
Yeah, that was actually the most interesting thing. The sticks were so many, in plenty. Before even the police is coming to rescue this away team,
you're gone.
You're gone. And you see, they used to. Ideal Fields used to make it very interesting that students were entering for free. Now you have a large number. Mvara SS, Ombachi, Mandela. You have the Ziggies of Nile. So guess what you will order? I'm not saying they use inside, but again the numbers were many. So you have so many people, and these people would always be told that when we went to Express, it was not a good experience. So but by far, I think this is what really also took our football backwards. But I'm happy that now, on the positive note, people and fans are getting much organized. Civilization is coming back. People are getting to appreciate that you can lose a game, you can win a game, you can draw in a game.
Okay, let's get straight away, and that's how exactly it sees, and it has happened. But right now, yes, we're trying to adapt to the current situation. Football of Uganda, and others say it is now not football, it's soccer. And let's wait and see how exactly it is. But let's get to just in a few minutes. URA is representing Uganda in the Confederation, and of course Uganda still want to continue with the Uganda Cup. Where is this working? How is it going to be done? Because I always know the team that finishes in the Uganda Cup represents, goes also for Uganda to represent India. So if this team wins, will they represent Uganda in the next season?
They will not. By the virtue of this, it is FUFA who is mandated to choose which club.
Yeah.
You remember when Paida Black Angels played with KCCA? KCCA were the champions of Uganda Premier League, but they were also the champions of the Uganda Cup. So you can't have two teams in
Confederation Championship.
Yes. So CAF actually at one FUFA they had to zero to Paida, let Paida represent, but Paida was not financially unstable to that level. To that level. They also struggled that time that they had to give it to Express, and Express by then, before they got this current sponsorship, you would not even think Express could go to represent the country. And now that they chose to go with URA, I'm not against that. But again, if you have chosen, just like you cancelled the league, you actually gave the title to Express. Now you even gave Uganda, to me, they gave Uganda Cup
to URA.
So why should you again go to be playing the Uganda Cup? Why? Of last season. Why can't it just end there?
For one to win that cup.
Now, the issue here is, what is coming up is the issue of the money. The money should be won. They need to account to the sponsor that this money was utilized. We got in the players, in fact the team that won, the
Uganda Cup.
These monies were distributed, and this is the accountability. I think that is the only thing that's left. I keep saying, how do you guys do your things in Uganda? So, but all the same, I think on the other side, let me congratulate The Rock. They were beaten South Africa, but still I know they did well. This, on a positive note, I congratulate you guys. With your Uganda, you have done well. But when it gets to your ways of doing your Uganda Cup, I don't know how you do your things.
Let's take a break, and we'll be coming back to give you some of the games that were played in the due course of the weekend in the international stories, EPL, Serie A, and of course the German Bundesliga, all being compiled right here. And we are taking a break. We'll be right back to give you more of these. Stay right hooked to your TV and don't really touch that remote, because you're going to be missing a lot from the Romelu Lukaku's of this world who did their moments yesterday. We take a break. We'll be right back.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that break, and of course a lot happening in there. It was a very, very big day as Manchester United suffered, and later on the man who was poured that water, I'm talking about Hessel Lindgren, came through to make sure that he equalized that goal, and then of course David De Gea became the hero for the night yesterday for Manchester United after serving in that Mark Noble penalty. Mark Noble brought in as a substitute, but of course wasted the chance. Most of the time someone brought in as a substitute does not score the goal. Most of the times, what could be the biggest reason? And of course, let's talk about Manchester United's game yesterday.
Well, Manchester United game yesterday was a very challenging game. I think it was one of the toughest games that the boys actually played yesterday. I looked at Ole's composition in the combination in the midfield. Yes, they tried their best, but I thought West Ham as well, they were very good on the night. The Susheks did their job very, very well. When I watched I think the goal that West Ham scored through the Algerian Benrahma, I think stood out for me. And I keep saying that one of the things that make Cristiano Ronaldo stand out, because in everywhere where he goes, because he has really mastered the art as a striker. The very key things you're supposed to one, your positioning; two, ball anticipation; and then your ability to put that ball at the back of the net. These three counts a lot. Look at how the cross was given to him. He knew exactly where the ball was going to land, and he tapped it very well. Only for the keeper, the rebound to actually come to him. The rebounder also came and found him in the right position. That's why he put the ball at the back of the net. That to me stands out for me. He actually, I think the player who is going to save Ole Gunnar's job is going to be Cristiano Ronaldo.
All the games he has played, he has scored all the goals.
Yes.
In every game he has played for Manchester United.
He's going to save his job. He has really done a tremendous work for me. And again, for West Ham, again, one of the things that I was really wondering for West Ham is how do you bring a player from the sub bench? Because yes, sometimes we are deceived by statistics. Like these players' statistics can be. He
has never missed a penalty.
Has not been missing.
For the last 10.
So I want him to come, and you substitute another player just for him to come and take a penalty. It's a disappointing thing for me. I really think if I were on the touchline myself, why don't I give Benrahma? I give you this challenge, you score. Let him be the one to waste it. Because I can't just bring a player from the subs bench to come and take a penalty. I mean, that doesn't make any sense for me. I think one of those things. Sometimes coaches, those things really happen, and I know with the penalties, sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you.
Mm-hmm.
But all the same, me honestly, I didn't like the idea of bringing someone from the subs bench to come and take the penalty. He missed the one though. The other good thing, the other contention for me was who was going to be awarded the man of the match. Is it the player who won the game or the player who saved the game? If you were to be put in that fix, I was with a colleague. I was asking, is it the player who won the game or the player who saved the game? Was it supposed to be Jesse Lingard who scored the winning goal, or David De Gea who saved United that game?
A game changer. You look at the two players. David De Gea played all the 90 minutes. Jesse Lingard came in, and without him, I doubt whether the goal would come in. So, in my own view, I looked at David De Gea because he played the whole game. That is one thing I looked, and then he had some saves before. Yeah, Jesse Lingard came out, got the goal, but his impact has been involved. Probably was trying to disapprove what is there. But for me, I feel David De Gea, to me, had to go with the game.
Okay, everyone else, the person who took it. But all the same, it was a good game. United is slowly picking up. You know, some of the things you can have limping wins, but again, this is how Sir Alex Ferguson used to win. To win the Premier League. Toughest game, overplayed, but still you will get that narrow win. Defend it. What matters is the number of points you accumulate. I think this time around, credit where due. Congratulations, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I know many of you guys criticize him, but again, give him this credit where he won the game. United won the game yesterday.
Just before we go off that, let's look at the players. First half, it was very, very porous that you could even see. Though they got the goal, the spacing, keeping the place opening was not their thing. But when we talk about now the team Manchester United, do you still fancy Paul Pogba being as a winger most of the times, because he's always there, but he's most of the times even he keeps drafting back to his normal places?
Paul Pogba loves to always play in an advanced role. He wants to advance himself, and
that was the task given to him, but at the flanks.
And I always think, to me, that's not the best way. Maybe because Paul Pogba to me thrives well as a direct player from the pitch to me, and playing him on the wings to me is more or less playing him out of position. Maybe because United have several players they need to accommodate in the midfield, and you want all these stars to be in the game. But I think as a coach, you need to always take that decision. The moment you don't have a consistent team, it always becomes a challenge. I would prefer to have Nemanja Matic sit deep.
Of course, he can change the game.
Pogba do for me the box to box alongside Bruno Fernandes. That one works well for me. And then you have on the flanks, you can have Jadon Sancho, and you can have when he's fit, maybe Greenwood will always come for me. Greenwood is a far much a better player for me this season. Even from last season, he's comfortable and he knows what he's doing. The direct replacement, in fact, the new Ryan Giggs in Manchester United. So that's always what I feel from that. However, it is also always down to the personality of a coach, and also that's where you'll be questioned. You have this player, you have these players, but why are you not winning? Sometimes it comes to what you actually want. If you want to be listening to Paul Pogba because he wants to play in an advanced role, or what do you want the team actually to look like? How do you want the team to play? Who should play what role? I think that's where you should actually stick to.
Now, in another game yesterday, you did see also Nuno Espirito Santos, Tottenham Hotspur, suffering in the hands of Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea Football Club in there. Now, Chelsea won the game 3-0. First half was not good for them, where of course Chelsea had, of course, the threat was too much for them by Tottenham Hotspur. But when they came in the second half, you doubt what Thomas Tuchel told them. Only one change of N'Golo Kante changed everything for Team Chelsea Football Club. Thomas Tuchel still doing good, and Nuno Espirito Santo still on that way of trying to assemble the team.
Well, Espirito Santo started winning their first 3 games. I think the expectations of everyone rose up high. But even then, me, as somebody who has been following him, I still had my reservations on what will Tottenham Hotspurs look like, especially in the other games. This first test came against Crystal Palace, a depleted Crystal Palace that I expected them to actually beat. They lost the game, and even with a red card, I expected Spurs to have done something in that game, but still he didn't. And that also brings the question: is Harry Kane psychologically positioned at Tottenham Hotspurs? Is he still at Tottenham, or he's yet to come back to Tottenham? Time and again I keep saying that I think the most important player, the most consistent and the most decorated player to me is Son Heung-min. He's the player who's carrying that team. When you see him in the team has energy, the team has flexibility, the team has somebody to rely on. But when you see Harry Kane, he seemed to not have gotten over the hangover of him wanting to leave. He wants to be in a club where he's going to earn, he's going to actually win trophies. He wants to be somewhere. The other challenge, I was following Dimitar Berbatov yesterday, saying he still feels that Harry Kane still having that dilemma that he really needed to make that switch to Manchester City. But again, in January, Manchester City may not go for him. Now the issue is, where else can he go? Can he still sign a new contract at Spurs? And looking at how Spurs is, they are not winning the games the way they are actually winning.
They're like seventh.
He has now played like about 4 games and not scored any. So that is very, 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 very worrying for a player of his caliber. Jack Grealish was brought in and he's making instant impact. He's scoring goals even in the Champions League, and that's where Harry Kane is supposed to be playing. By the way, in the Champions League, you're supposed to be playing at with the big name players. You look at the likes of Michael Antonio now have 3 goals. You don't have Ben Rahman already has 3 goals.
In fact, Antonio has now 4 goals.
He has 4 goals. Then you don't have. It's really so worrying for me. Then it brings to the issue of Espirito Santos. I saw the formation 4-3-3. I kept on wondering what happened to his original style of playing in the 3-4-3. Because equally, I think Spurs still have that way they could actually still play the 3-4-3. But when a coach now decides to start shifting to playing the 4-3-3, that I even saw the same approach. Sometimes they try to shift it to 4-1-2-1-2, but so I don't really see it working well. I don't know what he's going to do extra, but I thought the 4-1-2-1-2 formation, they have a little bit of they have more lines compared to their opponents, covering the width of the pitch, and again the flexibility of playing compact. But what I watched against Chelsea, I think showed me absolutely a very different thing. What if they are to play again against Manchester United, maybe in the next game? They have to play against West Ham. These are equally very, very good sides. I am not seeing so much of Espirito Santos. I think he should be one that he should be now fearing for his job, the way I'm seeing.
Let's talk about individual players before we get to some of the leagues in there, and of course sign out of these studios of the West Nile TV. And now let's look at the man who really had a tremendous performance. I've never seen him play for Chelsea like that. That was one of the biggest. Thiago Silva. He scored a goal, he defended, kept his clean sheet probably for not conceding any goal in that backline. He had a very good command in there. Should we say he is now back to the way he's supposed to play for Team Chelsea, and that is the reason why he's been bought. A back 3 was what they used.
At his age, I didn't expect him to be like that, but again, I think credit should be given to Thomas Tuchel. He has really done his best in knowing how to assemble the boys, and the boys knowing their role. I think the most balanced team in the Barclays Premier League is Chelsea. From the goalkeeping department, from the defense, from the midfield, and in the attack. And they have several options to call from. Even on the subs bench, they're equally very good to go. They started on a good note and they're still continuing with that. I think what stood out for me when they actually went a man down against Liverpool and still they managed to hold on to a draw. That one was one of the best things for me. I think Thomas Tuchel has assembled Chelsea very, very well. I may not be surprised if he will become the second person to defend the UEFA Champions League, and he will actually win the UEFA the English Premier League. The way Chelsea are playing, if that consistency is kept, I think there is a team to watch, that is Chelsea.
Who was your best player in the Chelsea? I mean, in the Tottenham Hotspur's team. You look at Oiba, you look at very many players who tried in there, and the young Brazilian. I'm talking about Emerson, who was also outstanding in that team.
Emerson Royal.
Yeah, he had a very good run. He gave hard times to different players in there. Havertz was removed because he could not give him that chance to go.
The game for me, I always look out for my man Son.
Son Heung-min. He had performed yesterday.
I always look out for him. But again, yesterday, I understand because Chelsea were equally very good on the night. But I think the most unsung hero in that Spurs team is Højbjerg. He's one of the best.
He was very good in that. Okay, let's take up to some of the leagues that were played. French League 1, you did see Nice play against Monaco, and of course Angers played against Nantes, and the team by the name of Reims took on Lorient. Of course, Angers lost to Nantes by 4-1, 2-2 draw for Monaco and Nice, and at the same time Rennes against Lorient was 0-0. Troyes played 1-1. Old Montpellier and Marseille beat, of course, team Rennes by 2-0, and PSG 2-1 in ahead of course, Lyon, but still Lionel Messi not on the score sheet.
He failed to shake up hands with Mauricio Pochettino. And Pochettino said the reason for withdrawing him was to protect him from injury. You know, big name stars are always like that. Sometimes they'll have their ups and downs. They'll not be so much. Don't want to be substituted in the game. But all the same, I think the team won. Him being substituted is not so much of a big thing, but it all gets down to the coach. The team won, that's the most important thing.
Now, of course, Alvaro Morata and Paul Dybala are carrying now the mantles at Juventus Football Club, and Juventus had a 1-1 all draw with the AC Milan, a very bad one for Juventus yet again.
And then at number 17, I'm actually getting worried what Max Allegri is going to do. I watched that game. Well, Morata tried his best. Paul Dybala did. Adrian Rabiot, because yesterday played a 4-4-2. Adrian Rabiot was shifted to the left-hand side of the wing. Juan Cuadrado on the right-hand side. Also to Locatelli in the midfield. But not so much came out for me from that team. Juventus are really making me worried. They're really making me worried.
They have conceded 2 goals and they are 2 points, and they are number 18 already, relegation button there, and we are saying that. But of course, in the Spanish Liga, Mallorca 0-0 with Villarreal, and Real Sociedad 0-0 with Sevilla. You did also see the team of Real Betis 2-2 with Espanyol, and Real Madrid still got their win against Valencia. And those are some of the games that are there as we sign out. Maybe we wind up with Real Madrid.
The old man has gone back there. I mean, I don't so much admire him now. That is the Italian Carlo Ancelotti. He's trying his best, and Madrid, you know, even with another manager that was equally worse than him, they still won the La Liga. That was Fabio Capello. One of the managers I never liked at Madrid was Fabio Capello. But now we have Carlo Ancelotti. He's trying to rebuild that team. I would so much want to see Ancelotti building that team beyond the Toni Kroos, getting beyond the Luka Modric of this world, and not so many of the players now. The Karim Benzema's.
His squad.
Yes,
the young boy junior squad.
I want him to get that team beyond these players, because beyond this season, I may not really see the effectiveness of those players beyond this coming season.
A very big one. Real Madrid lies at number 1 with 13 points, of course, after 5 games that have been played right there. And I want to say it has brought us to the right time for us to end this edition of the Sports and the Whistle Time right here with a couple of stories that will be coming in the next, of course, programming. And just stay hooked to your TV because the next program is coming up next. And we still remain the Whistle Timers right here on West Nile TV.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, may you dare ingamwa. West Nile TV, may you dare ingamwa.
Tuo tujunge yukangom wai chenge mokichamu kukwo hai tumo kupe mitu kange waya different production inaka tu kwede koploka nye miriri kumelo manu weru wiranyen ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself inaka tu kwede koploka nye miriri kumelo manu weru wiranyen ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself. Yaga tutukumiki kuwaya every rapper waya chalubia ni yagiwaga kana medera kulaga aha many hot chalula bakani watu gewo chamu kukugenu kataka ni bedi kaka chumara mara chaluka dukani mundu kadun chumagenge mugenu katun I'm not a fool kudu benywa chubukosu chinaka tu kwede koploka nye miriri kumelo manu weru wiranyen ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself chinaka tu kwede koploka nye mediri kumelo manu weru wiranye ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself ilibiri alibagenu katitoy udi ngombe bedin genu woti poli kan wende bedun eke makuvoi show you biria yubagi piko nyukori akachala muru kanu moki voi inanu kadija koru de kakugo kan podi beloru nikachamu kwe aha nidu binu wenje chinaka tu kwede koploka nye mediri kumelo manu weru wiranye ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself chinaka tu kwede koploka nye mediri kumelo manu weru wiranye ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself. It's deeper. Yaga tutukumiki kuwaya every rapper waya chalubia ni yagiwaga kana medera kulaga kani watu gewo chamu kukugenu kataka ni bedi kaka chumara mara chaluka dukani mundu kadun chumagenge mugenu katun I'm not a fool kudu benywa chubukosu chinaka tu kwede koploka nye mediri kumelo manu weru wiranyen ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself chinaka tu kwede koploka nye mediri kumelo manu weru wiranyen ainaka pin malunjo irikiri I like the way they enjoy yourself. Big up Eli DJ Mavo. Big up to all borders. High five Xavier Big Daddy. DJs promoters. Boom. Hey. Kaboom. Good night records. I saw me. Yeah. I'm still the future president. Believe me. Rap again. Get the baddest. Kubaku kwenu hivi nanyaka mwing mwangwa. Anyaka manu tika yuaga. Kubaku kwenu hivi nanyaka mwing mwangwa. Anyaka manu tika yuaga. Egosi. Rapi dikani yo. Anyaka manu tika yuaga. Egosi. Rapi jedukani yo. Anyaka manu tika yuaga. Kubaku kwenu hivi nanyaka mwing mwangwa. Anyaka manu tika yuaga. Kubaku kwenu hivi nanyaka mwing mwangwa. Anyaka manu tika yuaga. Egosi. Just like from bed, very rap. Why? No me say I'm the one. Wing one. Una hira wing lo pa me. Kono chaku wa rap weru. Manale beti kalo. Rap the future president. It's okay, give me way and be what good you want. Tangea, my topu katea, a pereculea. Get me.
Yo dansi shopu paka yalo. Try, yeah. Nyaku Chicago, Deke parati e kago. Yoni ai Chicago, isupu parati e kado. Ewono, figa lenga kecha. Ewono, lenga kecha. Ewono, come here and sit down for me table. Ewono, figa lenga kecha. Ewono, lenga kecha. Ewono, come here and sit down for me table. Ewono, Ewashi Luganda lure luongo mululu. Emado mishu pe mitungo mikulu. Etwa miglase mitungo miragulu. Maskeno shidaka tutarego yundulu. Kunifika perisha lowini nwagi. Ike tu shori ula ingena nywagi. Makumya vuyo shauti ye pagi. Uke tu shomashage dora alalonga kage. Nyaku Chicago, Deke parati ye kago. Yoni ai Chicago, isupu parati ye kago. Ewono, figa lenga kecha. Ewono, lenga kecha. Ewono, come here and sit down for me table. Ewono, figa lenga kecha. Ewono, lenga kecha. Ewono, come here and sit down for me table. Ewono, Nangu warombi September, October, Edoki, December. I wish you better your center. Try the nikecha, can I be no kudi kecha? Irian chalo nyakaluku, umitinge girl, you are sweeter than kuku. You deg umitika ya ganu kuku. Give a shundra, echa poku poku. Nyaku Chicago, Ijeke parati Chicago. Goni ai Chicago. Isupu parati Chicago. Ewuno, figa de lenga kecha. Ewuno, lenga kecha. Ewuno, come here and sit down for me table. Ewuno, figa de lenga kecha. Ewuno, lenga kecha. Ewuno, come here and sit down for me table. Ewuno, brand skills. MCK, MC Lava. It is 256. Try manager. Ewuno, Fratty the classic man. Ewuno, save your big daddy Gaucho. Razor Cruz, Sadat, Pius Claytas Frinjo, Adu, Pascal Martins, yeah. Yellow dance, with the mio dance, Chipu Pakayalo, team management.
Yeah, the future's here. Battle spoken. Yeah, Real GK was M-Side Music.
DJ Papa.
Medomaye, kata anukuta nzazani kwani nite olani. Pelomaye, oduko mapave tasa si aparaka yo. Ozele sopa, otoforo sopa. Ingazo atakamada were ribanda osi. Asopa masi, ingazo agua. Atoma bosi mangakiri pabari oba masira. Otoma pageles, ngamia malogi rifasi. Antapari famalia matikara tasi pekini madia azani. Teresu mayomba gera, waka aliasi. Mangavini obira, nyamonda vita aliati. Mabima aliati, atikanga miti barefeku. Mitoyo di fatu waku. Ontivo street, Mondare matia. Baraflama definition in barosi rato kisiku spray kansi. Ontulo beri bakang bare sasi ma office ni.
For my city, I do it for my city. For my city, I'm rapping for my city. For my city, I hustle for my city. For my city, I represent my city.
Akumpo mavurini, madiyonta emini.
Lepele du Medina Tai, anabuwanusu.
Akadi asibaku, adininga mangwizoni.
Kanina marabe Medina bitana munu ya biraba. Bismillah, the anawalai. Massive mics, the anabarai. DJ Popper, it is steady walai. Zaman antala fishari, kanin machine kadari. Zahma ketir fishari, the city bitai, the bella bitai. Ajab ketir bihasil lacking alama bifeke. This is a life we're living. Obat ketir, gangsters everywhere, anywhere. Amul hisabak, itakamata tukufi mashakil. Amul hisabak, yeah.
Banza yombari Otauku, ex-bishop Mfesasi maluba rabi barige Isopa misuruni Terekiri basi kumisi komente Guruba lema milieri raka Now you believe it, follow your dreams, tell everybody, you gonna make it, James made it, Nyekuta made it, Nukuta nzeza, Baba afya, basi moro bisa mavangwadi yatu aku.
Marhabe kumle Medina yay, Dema hajamil, itakalisa maarifu yay, Dema haladif, Aulad bejai, banagi ya fimbenak, ma M-Side team bejai. Real G, K-Bus, I know battles spoken, doing it for our city, For my city, I do it for my city. For my city, I'm rapping for my city. For my city, I hustle for my city. For my city, I represent my city. For my city, I do it for my city. For my city, I'm rapping for my city. For my city, I hustle for my city. For my city, I represent my city.
Akumpo mavurini, madiyonta emini.
Lepele du Medina Tai, medina betana munu ya biraba.
And the news.
Free boy, way up on your mother. Yeah, way up on your mother. Yes, tell it. Girl, you kill me when you're whining. For your love, I go migrate. With a booty, there's no pirate. Pirate, no debate. Girl, what you give me is the finest. I said your love is the highest. See the way you got me singing. Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo. Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo.
Want me sick, girl, you want me medication. Me regent, girl, give me alleviation. Body big, that when me want to sleep and soft like a valve, home like a oven. So turn it up the party dance floor. Say better, when you get like you make keyboard. Me love all your style and your voice and me rent on a tobogalo bubbling a macarona. Buoma, bunyonyo geleli mumutema, yeah. Nakolanda, cause all them beautiful girls of a singer, yeah.
Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo. Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo.
You want me magnetic. When me close to you, me body vibrate. Without you, girl, I me suffocate. See me seeds where the one can germinate. You want me magnetic. When me close to you, me body vibrate. Without you, girl, I me suffocate. See me seeds where the one can germinate.
Girl, you know you be one in a billion. Hey, I just wanna play you right like a piano. Hey, Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo. Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo. This girl, she's a trendsetter. Wagala go fashion, me confuse her. And go cut her máximo pa' caleta. And girl, for your love, I'm happy you waiter. Nkwe gomba, wagala kufa tenkwe songa. Rani wen songa. Songa.
You want me magnetic. When me close to you, me body vibrate. Without you, girl, I me suffocate. See me seeds where the one can germinate.
Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo. Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo. Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo. Vaven copia, caro. Hueva poña malo.
Para spoken mirrors in the rappers majoko toite.
Mosura, Aya, Slam drum music. Wendra kujegi amanya tifenya nyuri yolu indiketa matengaka ikimendula gafura maguka pengote tali matre ababasa anzenyiri perembaza yukuta mati olaza mani ngodi ngozo bravo kini mani machibe ngatendereta batidia kini ndra metoni rapu nyali lekudini Mosura kini ndo nduparaketo nyodi lekudini Mosura kata kini madi josi nyodi devisi tua inenga nusidi kini yemani rapu sadini adi Mia vini pisisiko, mia vini abitarasiko, mia vini irapusiko, mia vini karima bukasiko, mia vini ante kwelisiko. Adegandra kini udia kweri ni aludi lerani ya Mosura El Pielo, you know to go to the what? Maximum Hotelulu kini andi mapangwa riandu saduru Mosura Radziki ni mionzite ba mamanga miaduni.
Osura, osura,
Osura,
osura, osura,
Ada,
osura, osura,
Osura,
osura,
Ada.
I'll be flying in the sky, I'll be riding, I'll be calling my home. So many lies, in other way, but Jaja.
Manga kiri duado Changa atunga tunga Changa atunga tunga Changa atunga tunga Rapobe miteka lukalu bazeka kanda bara spoken in it before ope Eyo nasima osura Majibe ite zigizaga makolabo man pato peri flop Andra temadi njote ya Kutamani ola abata dari Meyosik bara flow egara amutile Abire makolabo ndafati ebera Nyondrango bimalia ambamba ita Itero ni setendro bimalia rekodi Anike dara
osura, osura,
Osura, Ada, Osura, Ada. Karile suma samba paringo tuzuri malia bobale vinoka Yona bili meselia Sambe suma karile lefiri bebale vinoka si ma osura Ote mademi fafe Ele vina fadi dute Dumida Baka vini ejo ezabo Mama ada vini ejo niko Ipiri maruma milenyo bialia Odia kwari ni afi Anzingiringa yeta grupu si Treya viriada Ingo karia Karile yesu anzipe mama pie baba pie Slam from Akua liasi Akua mbua liasi Bara spoken
osura,
Osura, Ada,
osura,
Osura, Ada, Osura, Ada, Osura, Ada.
Shono ginuri kumi wa magiboli tungulu Taya day Chabu kisa kichowati Chol para minenue Ero mukudata Adieng dengo Lembene yenga dengo Ane Chanpara yo Ero mukudata Adieng dengo Lembene yenga dengo Ane Tegini para mupinue Ero mukudata Adieng dengo Lembene yenga dengo Kuna betwe Ero mukuna tap Adieng dengo Lembene yenga dengo Ane Kwa mateng matinu beketa ya adieng dengo Amaro dengo Wimaliet maridi tongwenu En marom mayomu ikata Chol para yo Chole ni romo kudayo Nacho para yo Nachue ni romo kudayo Tegini para yo Kadi be chol, kadi be lando mupoti longoro Cheke ngwenya Kadi be leng, kadi be rash mupoti longoro Dong kadi be chol, kadi be lando mupoti longoro Cheke ngwenya Kadi be leng, kadi be rash mupoti longoro We are bijay, alibi chako, mwa bidu Hai, nendong gitadi tadi Gitadi tadi, nendong gitadi tadi Gitadi tadi, nendong gitadi tadi Gitadi, nendo gitadi, Ginyang dengo, chono ginyang dengo
kuda tap adeng dengo lembene yinga dengo ane chanpara yo eromo kuda tap adeng dengo lembene yinga dengo ane egini para mu pinue eromo kuda tap adeng dengo lembene yinga dengo ane kuna bembo kuna bechwe eromo kuda tap adeng dengo lembene yinga dengo ane bineno mi pinyolo unelano uneshola dendengo kani wachilengi loyo ana bineno mi pinyolo unele uneracha dendengo nendongi tadi tadi gitadi tadi nendongi tadi tadi gitadi tadi nendongi tadi tadi gitadi tadi nendongi tadi tadi gitadi tadi
Them a call me perfection, monopoly but character. I say come follow me now. And this backstage music, judgment perfection. Inside my heart, man you look very me yo. Mupagala, now we turn pena. Inside my heart, man you look very me yo. Baby Guadala, now we turn badala. It's like you're my acceleration. My heart is on vibration. Me need the exception, girl, not your rejection. You're my decision, me I go give you protection. Ay, you put me on tension, I this love corruption. Yo, pick up my caro, my caro. Make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling. Girl, them ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling. Girl, them ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling. Inside my heart, man, you look very me, yo. Mupagala, now we turn pena. Inside my heart, man, you look very me, yo. Mupagala, now we turn pena.
Yo, mi side yari de ini yebo, ini rata. Ma side yari de fini yebo, tuate. Ija chepiri di moti, mamuko. Sende di motira ichiridri. Makunga lu lafu dia madri. Lafu dia lu mi choka fene. Manenga lu amanene. Yo, meri dia mi teregoni. Iji me mi fudale, dale drogonya. Saki minine dia fachiri manyanya. Miji ata ondonya manyanya. Miji ata olonya manyanya. Mina kia so long as I'm with ya. Come follow me now.
Inside my heart, man you look very me yo.
If I'm a man, kachala.
Mupagala, now we turn pena. Inside my heart, man you look very me yo.
If I'm a man, kachala.
Baby Guadala, now we turn badala. It's like, baby love me, love me, love me. Zamba love me, love me, love me. Baby love me, love me, love me. You're my decision, me I go give you protection. Ay, you put me on tension, I this love corruption. Yo, think I'm a caro, my caro. Hello, mano, Casanova. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling. Girl, them ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling. You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling. Girl, them ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling. Inside my heart, man, you look very me, yo. Now we turn pena. Inside my heart, man, you look very me, yo. Now we turn badala. Touch man on this one.
A bad dancehall queen, 50 baby. Come in my music. Just perfection on the beats. Ianga mi marate. Whoa. Ianga mi marate. Oh. Ianga mi marate. Oh. Ianga mi marate. Fifi baby, me bad than the rest. Physically, Maka, you know me at the guest. Me say, Ikechura baby, show me what you got. Let me see you when the body rap on the dance floor. Ejati mafuba tuki, 2 by 2. Ejati mafuba nyiki, 2 by 2. Ida mani mi to mani mi ya mani mi say yaki rap on the dance floor. Fifi baby, me bad than the rest. Physically, Maka, you know me at the guest. Me say, Ikechura baby, show me what you got. Let me see you when the body rap on the dance floor. Ejati mafuba tuki, 2 by 2. Ejati mafuba nyiki, 2 by 2. Iya mani mi to mani mi say yaki rap on the dance floor. Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Itunga Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Left, right, dole dale. Baby boy, come close, let me feel you. Say left, right, dole dale. Missa me marvel, let me feel your body. Touch dance whole time, come patay. Missa me marvel, Ianga mi marate. Touch dance whole time, come patay. Missa me marvel, Ianga mi marate. Sexy girl, wind them to waist, show them the dance right. Wind them to waist, it's a bright. Rub them too far. Yeah. We go left, right, dole dale. All the girls, dole. We go left, right, dole. Ianga mi marate. Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. So when the travel and spotter together, everybody we go dance all tonight. So when the travel and spotter together, everybody we go dance all tonight. Missa me marvel, let me see your body. Missa me marvel, let me feel your body. Missa me marvel, let me feel your body. Rap on the dance floor. 50 baby, me abandon the rest. Physically, Maka, you know me at the guest. Get your rap, baby, show me what you got. Let me see you when the body rap on the dance floor. I am your country girl, you are my country boy. Ianga mi marate, me matukanga. I am your country girl, you are my country boy. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate. Ianga mi marate. Oh, Ianga mi marate.
It's deeper.
King. Mawajiraji kuma amiti aiche. Adia jeringo amiti aiche. Mudaga marango amiti aiche. Amiti aiche. Mawajiraji kuma amiti aiche. Adia jeringo amiti aiche. Mudaga marango amiti aiche. Amiti aiche. Ungitu badiu sedetele. Mungu migu jobo bere laro periyen. Manyinge yikle. Penyupe iling pirango. Linda dito alungra boss. Luarupe biningedado. Iu jopotie. Chako choncha. Inarungo angur muru. Yoncha lupolu. Amidungo jermu. Ketiri amidungo pakamu. Yo wakonyu mokuji. Wawayungo empire. Mukala degi kuma. Tulu ora pare. I can't step ahead. I nego match pare. I know kida ya wakodo kudu. Sedetiele a wonderful. Tige fire. Mawajiraji kuma amiti aiche. Adia jeringo amiti aiche. Mudaga marango amiti aiche. Amiti aiche.
chunyi mutoga ndani eni imeko pinjo mujaizope angorembre imidi bebe ifino bangaro nan witi ungo stepadi mikero chakochon ana idu koranga ngule pime bachi nani banga seda binigire chabu mujfe yamo ikela degi kuma mafu ikelo katiri mafu yeah mafu tidompala mafu mudaga marango mafu mafu mawajiraji kuma amiti aiche adia jeringo amiti aiche mudaga marango amiti aiche amiti aiche mawajiraji kuma amiti aiche adia jeringo amiti aiche mudaga marango amiti aiche amiti aiche alungra boss luarpe biningadado iu jopotie kako choncha inarungo angur muru yoncha lupolu ikela degi kuma mafu ikelo katiri mafu yeah mafu tidompala mafu mudaga marango mafu mafu mawajiraji kuma amiti aiche adia jeringo amiti aiche mudaga marango amiti aiche mawajiraji kuma amiti aiche adia jeringo amiti aiche mudaga marango amiti aiche gosh nelly cats this yen I serve your big daddy big town I TT Juan I am Sigal, the black man, Verratti, Romano, Arezzo Crew.
Sort of music. Addition.
Mama Africa, education for all. Tuma watoto shuleni, acha wasome sawasawa. People fisi nunayunfu. Knowledge is a power, knowledge is a wisdom. Bakamimbaku michoni faku, go to sukulu and don't be mumu, get some skill. Wala education skill to succeed. Tell me what them are making expensive. Education for all. Tuma watoto shuleni, bache wasome sawasawa. Nipa fisi nuno ayunfu. Knowledge is a power, knowledge is a wisdom. Akami makumi choni vaku. Go to sukulu landu. Don't be mumu get some skill. Wala eduka some skill to succeed. Tell me when them are making expensive.
Yeah, Hanik Ben International, Flatline Music. The ability for quarantine. I be your king and you be my queenie. I take me reporting on 15. My heart is burning, baby you're a killer. My life is so blank without your name. One night of life will never be the same. Not again will I cause any shame. Jolation will continue with that. I make a man very pong pong chinyado baby cholado, yeah. I make a man very pong pong chinyado baby cholado, yeah. Chola, chola, baby cholado, itwinye. Chola, chola, baby cholado, itwinye. Sawa cheke baby nanga kia kia, kanango chope baby nanga kwaya kwaya. Hewono yano, kebini lara, niko bebe unye kumazowe wanga wanga. Come closer, I need to show ya sample, so that we be as a couple. Jeruka kuwe kwa tuku nitapo. Only fantastic and so romantic. Omo viri go kulisa estacientiki. No musade na aliso energetic. No mukono go buta de mula paniki. Bini banga wakwa beku dikako. Aja Uganda apeja Congo. Sister para debe keliri bongo. Marpe ni chinya upeka toko. Apiko marpe ri pong pong chinya dong baby cholado, yeah. Apiko marpe ri pong pong chinya dong baby cholado, yeah. Chola, chola, baby cholado, itwinye. Chola, chola, baby cholado, itwinye. Inikene me bedile karere. Chola chinywe kuwa beku dire. Daluni na rosu kikuda di andre. You was a sour chicken and a pick up a car. You'll have been tuning for quarantine. I be your king and you be my queenie. I take me reporting on 15. Be the cow and better than COVID-19. Ikadiwanga chaluti, mila. Uke tukaga wachirencha ladira. Man, call me send the wake willa. My heart is burning, baby, you're a killer. My life is so blank without your name. One night of life will never be the same. Not again will I cause any shame. Jolation will continue with that. Chola, chola, baby cholado, itwinye. Chola, chola, baby cholado, itwinye. Hadija Tonics, Cyber Daddy, Hadija Rogers, Hadija Zero Plus, Jam with Uganda. Yeah, a best light gang.
I Steve.
Itwinye.
King Kong, Messiah LB Shadi, ana female touchman perfect. Salim Moroma briga kwa kantarufu. Wazeto mdega kulzaidi kulu gelel bahu. Karama tilen geleb gelwa ifikambi muru. Nuswana yomini gijozu rujal tomon. Ana figi kaba sasa dukavana na suru. Maria takaba kata fi pini ya nubi. Oligo na bagere kafi waidu shirini. Agwendi guna jadidi mawera soni. Dunia waga madongo fras kolansi. Ana figi guna yeto mdendi rasti nini. Ruta time ruta dawa kwenini. Ruta leo minegi Jones wako rutineni. Million tineni. Panadole yo minegi kotete mafinisi. Kana kaba siala dole kana kaba. Kana kaba tina huri kana kaba. Kana kaba panadole kana kaba. Kana kaba. Kana kaba. Kana kaba malima dole kana kaba. Kana kaba swaze dole kana kaba. Kana kaba tama bombo kana kaba. Kana kaba. Kana kaba. Malima taro yo minegi swa pana maskiti. Makalam dini. Kalam silingi. Kangwereto kumana taiboreto mfadi. Ketunga dini. Kesep shiriki. Dorsi kadili. Kalam tesetani. Anatu mafi. Keka kaba. Malima yo minegi sesa nasima kemu saki. Maleteni na juma skiti ni nafi. Kani na chunge na makali ya kolo finari. Anake takum. Anabi okumito. Kalam algosu mare kalam gisiatu. Bombo. Kana kaba siala dole kana kaba. Kana kaba tina huri kana kaba. Kana kaba spana dole kana kaba. Kana kaba. Kana kaba. Kana kaba malima dole kana kaba. Kana kaba swaze dole kana kaba. Kana kaba tama bombo kana kaba. Kana kaba. Kana kaba. Ana kelem netom ya kalam. Ana kebir takum kalam ya ligen. Ana kebirta ki. Narana wiria. Itom kangas makalama. Asila dam. Shar wede shar ta kabasi. Kelem no mo. Ana nebita nubia. Asili. Malma yo mine bada salak jur pull down. Mapana tomo takachupa dole. Ana kaimo bana konton kila yo. Ana bichele tukaleta masheka wa dindole. Ana werneto miao. Ana gura safa ibinda kumkulu. Ana bisaka bito mkulu. Kana kabas malima dole kana kaba. Kana kabas waze dole kana kaba. Kana kabas tama bombo kana kaba. Kana kaba. Kana kaba.
Ya gas yo mine kidugula bana maskiti. Kana gata nana fazal suluba.
Saidi Kea zito mnake fit mwana sabiri zola.
Kiri Apoerix Julungani akaga Anyira dokuzaga Sabe Atemuranya gerido Atemuranya nyudiro Matato Niko ya matato Matato Niko ya matato Sabe Kudiweka kumate kutama Beni poto anabedo ni fama Nyobesende remuke dunia iweka Ameria kecapedi ku planu nyama Kamu jonju benga mita kete koma Okodi maka piramida nyima nyama Awoto twaka piri gerdi lama lama Miel ira gen wati Sodoma Sabi, baby Come to me, shali nena witebo Sawara mamita bedi ristebo Atsugi nget matek shalo repo Yaga Anyira dokuzaga Atemuranya gerido Atemuranya nyudiro Matato Niko ya matato Matato Niko ya matato Mafi Kani kweta aringi juba kubi Yekuna kuna manangi chamo kade jobi Ya oro nama binu ba ejo kuchwinyi Ala no bua binu pakanya yotiti Iwo turi nakangi yido kuse Giringi bengi do tu lembe enju nyegu Anyu eringo anyira dako zaga pika paka Kiri Jumoko gugu paka Atemuranya gerido Atemuranya nyudiro Matato Niko ya matato Matato Niko ya matato Adije fali yo mara Uncle Jolo boy Moisaka Roberto Walokuba DJ Mavo DJ Frenjo Sabe Apoerix Management Agwe jig big, agwonu to gutter. Geliko wo to bogeke akwenya view Honda. Ogboleche tone ageju one corner. Obako age heto go ajebe yona. Obako ne. Alola kulu toilet alo kunyondo. Wear clothes of many colors, they do color riot. Obako. Get story to talk. It's about a boy that they call and John. Now the only son when mama born. You know they hear word, the two they stubborn. All this wahala now in mama fault. She know they beat time, now you don't spoil. Others they talk, himself they talk. Send and go market, go say money loss. You carry school fees. Go play best Niger. I wait to win over 2.5. Ticket cut, Kasala boss. Kai tipe chimle. Odadu ke yonfa. Kai gutabo biobi. Age jele for Obako ne. Alola kulu toilet alo kunyodo. You wear clothes of many colors, they do color riot. Obako. Another story to talk. It's about a girl there, they call her Juma. She they control boys, they follow like a kuya. She like to they do, like say she be a kuna. Bayan, suya, she open, she pop, pull out for every corner. Don't do things with every brother. She's just the money for every corner. She wears skinny jeans, Mary Kay for face. It's a turn up things. She go the roll her waist. Loy my badge be danglo. Ake lo banfa. Akaek baja bolole. Age poche fa. Obako ne. Alola kulu toilet alo kunyodo. You wear clothes of many colors, they do color riot. Obako ne. Hey, kake atohien. Toto ike. Kubuku oyaje. Oyaje kubuku.
Lazaro Erindra wedile Uduolo arenya Lazaro ni amai Erima kipikaro Akini mfari Ezuanze de isimio funilesi Lazaro Erindra wedile uduolo arenya Lazaro ni amai Erima kipikaro Mfate Ameriko Tesa serima uninga Miringa Erindra magezi obileti na manga teria sula Kindra koyomani morobi sula vutiare tujara Terni okuovuzo ndoa rurisi ya tinga ndero za Kampala Terimuta Kampala wadada mfa medringa tura Amegadra edifudika kutangandra difudika Mamuterivu wa kuwa introduce mani my fiance Nekin man she's called Anna Kumbe Anna had once been a girlfriend to my late friend Mr. Sanya Soti zamba ni mumane urdi zamba tera Terimufu wa mvebo soti mombe Lazaro nekala Azieri pale akinifunda Zambar bengwaka tin manu koyo ragza fundra zambar be diskwa ay brother mapa pura anindra majengoni arukula